Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about a topic that I think really needs to be improved on in Battlefield 4. This topic is the diversification of weapons and how in Battlefield 3 there's really not a diverse choice at all. Um, when I say diversity, I don't mean skins, I'm talking about actual performance and why you would actually use certain weapons over another. There's basically 2 to 3 classes of weapons depending on what kit you're going for. And the first class of weapons is long range, second of course being short range, and third being all around. Now, when it comes to long range weapons, we all know that you can use a sniper rifle in this game, or you can bipod it up with a light machine gun that's actually pretty decent at long range, or you can use some of the longer range assault rifles like the G3 or the AN-94. If you're going for short range in the assault class, that falls down to basically the F2000, the AEK, the M16. Carbines, the MTAR is really the best example of close range carbine. And the LMGs, basically any of them, you just spray. But that's a different topic for another video. The lack of diversity within these classes is kind of chilling, and the fact that there's always one clear-cut winner when there's such a wide amount, such a large pool of weapons to pick from, is kind of frightening. So basically, every class that I just named, and every kind of pool of weapons that you can choose from, they have their own unique uses, but some are just so bad that they pale in comparison to all the others. I mean, all the weapons have the same function, right? They're used to kill, and they might have different strengths and different weaknesses that affect one another. But when one is just so much better than the others that, especially in a competitive sense, you're only going to find one in a game at any given time, it creates a repetition that is not good for the longevity of a game. So let me give you an example. In the competitive scene of both the consoles and the PC, most of the time you're going to see guys rolling with the M16 90% of the time. Some will prefer the M416, and depending on the map, some might even use the G3, and that's it. And now let's go to pubs. Pubs are very similar. Most people are going to use the M16, the AEK, the G3. Some use the AN-94, and the other ones, while they might be using other weapons, they're not going to do as well because the guns don't perform as well. And when a person wants to diversify their playtime and they want to use a different weapon, why are they punished for that? Why does the game not allow them to do, things like use a different kit and do well with it? If someone wants to use the AUG and do well with it, can they? Yeah, but they're going to be good players probably to be doing well with it. Now, if anybody wants to use any gun in the game, if a random pub player wants to use an AUG and he goes up against someone that's as equally skilled as him with an AUG, or that equally skilled player has an even better weapon, like pretty much any other gun in the assault class except for like the AK, he's gonna get killed. And I mean, this is kind of a problem that a lot of games fall into, but Battlefield in particular that I'm going to be talking about today. And what it does is, it doesn't allow people to really diversify their playtime without feeling like they're being punished for a choice they make, or they're going to be having a bad time because they're dying too much, and they're going to feel like the other guns are overpowered when in actuality it's just that the gun they are using is underpowered. And it's a sad fact of life for a Battlefield player, but it's so true. And I think that this is something that DICE needs to really strive for and fixing in Battlefield 4. We all know that they're done with patches. They really only like to do patches with every expansion, which, I understand the cost of putting patches out, especially on the consoles. It's expensive. And so you can't necessarily blame them for, wanting to put out only a patch with every expansion. But what it does is it really limits the amount of time and the amount of patches that they can put out, and it kind of can reduce the quality of the game. So what they have to do is they have to build a strong, good initial product with Battlefield 4 or Bad Company 3. It's going to be Battlefield 4, but I don't know if they're really going to go with the motif of Bad Company or Battlefield. But I digress. So in this game, we all know, I mean, it's an obvious fact that there are just certain guns in each kit that completely dominate the others. And it might not even be that they're easy guns, it's just the fact that statistically speaking, DICE does not balance out each individual gun for, a specific purpose. I mean, most of the time the M16 is going to win the gunfight. I mean, the M16 is the best all-around gun in the game. As for support, I can't really speak. But for recon, it's like the M98. I mean, there's all these other cool weapons that you could be using in the recon class if you were to play it. But it's like if you're not using the M98, you feel like you're being punished because the other ones are going to be better. And it's just a sad fact of life for a Battlefield gamer. The carbines, the M4A1, statistically is the best one. That's the one you see in competition. That's the one you see when pub players want to really do well, is the M4A1. And it's a sad part of the game that DICE isn't doing anything about this. And so I'm here to give my 2 cents about this. I've been kind of rambling about what really, the weapons, why they're not balanced. Now I want to talk about what we can do to balance them. Now there's so many different parts of this game that can be taken into effect, that can't be taken into effect with other shooters. I'm talking bullet drop, I'm talking having to lead a person because of the muzzle velocity, I'm talking recoil. There's a couple of games out, or really the only couple of games out right now that are in the same market as Battlefield. You can't deny the fact that their weapons don't have recoil. And that's one thing that you can sell a weapon on, is it's easy to manage recoil. If you look at the M16, I'm going to go on to it again. I'm going to beat this as a dead horse because I feel like the M16 is too good. The M16 has such a low recoil, it really takes nothing to control it. But if it's got such a low recoil, why couldn't it be punished in another area? Why does the M16 have really good spread, really good accuracy, a fairly decent muzzle velocity, an incredibly fast recoil, really low damage, or really low recoil, and the same damage as other assault rifles? Why? I mean, DICE should be able to recognize the fact that when they build a weapon like this, it's too good. They should be able to recognize the fact that they need to balance it. I mean, look at the G3. I think it's a perfectly balanced weapon. If you look at it, it's got atrocious hipfire. It's got decent side-to-side ADS, if you're moving in your ADS. But when you're standing still in your ADS, you've got the best weapon in the game for medium to long range encounters that are really within like 300-400 meters. You can pull those shots off even at the crazy long distances that you might think a sniper could only do. I mean, if you're in single fire and you line up your shots and you even get a headshot, that's only 3 or 4 shots and they're dead. That's what the G3 excels at. It excels at long ranges, but it's punished because of it. It's got well, it does have some sort of a little bit of a high vertical recoil. It's really, you don't have to worry about it because that's all you're worrying about. You just have to pull down a little bit, and then that is the compensation of the recoil on the G3. And so I think that the G3 is balanced because in close quarters it'll lose out a lot, but at long range and medium range it'll absolutely dominate. But what's wrong with these other weapons? The AEK, everyone understands that it's pretty much the close quarters dominator of the assault class, but why is it so good? You can still use it at a pretty good medium distance and still pick people off. I mean, I understand that the AEK has a pretty long reload, even when there's still some bullets in the chamber, but overall I think that they've done a poor job of balancing it out, and some of the things that I think that they could do to the AEK to kind of punish it some more is maybe decrease its ADS spread by just a little bit, just a minute amount. And that's pretty much all you'd need for the AEK. The AEK is pretty balanced. It's just a little too good for what it is. It's a really good, high rate of fire, high damage output weapon up close. At range, it's a little too good, and it should be getting beat out by these other guns, the L85, and things like that. The AK-74. Now, when I'm talking about this, I know I'm talking like these guns are just so overpowered, but it's not necessarily the fact that they're overpowered. If every gun had such strong strengths as the guns I'm mentioning did, then you would see a wider diversification of classes and guns you use in the Battlefield Online experience. Let's get into like the L85. The thing is an absolute laser beam. It's still not as accurate as the G3. So what could they do to bring it up on par with the G3? Well, the G3, while it does have a pretty good reload, while still having a bullet in the magazine, or a bullet in the chamber, excuse me, why not get the L85 an even faster reload? Or since it's bullpup, why don't you prove that in game and maybe increase the soldier's speed that has the L85? Or maybe his ADS time should be even faster than it already is. One other thing you could do with the L85 is maybe have some sort of modifier that allows it to shoot through suppression, or maybe make its bring up time when you go in ADS even faster. As for the AK, since it's an AK model line of weapons and it is chambering that AK round, why not have it do 33 damage like the G3? That's really all all that gun needs to be balanced. So why can't we see that happen? Why are we having all of these guns that fire the same, just worse? Now you're gonna have to think about that. All the guns in this game really do work in similar ways. They've just got different skins, but when it comes down to it, there's that one gun that demolishes the others of the class. I mean, why is this the case? Why do we not get rewarded for our diversification of the assault class? Of any class, for that matter. Why aren't, some guns, say, a gun that maybe chambers a 308 round? Because there are a couple in this game that do it. Why don't they fire not just a little faster, but significantly faster? Why isn't the muzzle velocity a lot higher on those weapons? Why not? I mean, with this game that we've been given, we have all these realistic features within them. Why don't we expand on these and allow the diversification of the weapon to truly show when you choose it to be used in a situation that it's actually good for? I'm talking, make the M16 terrible when it comes to reloading, perhaps. That's one way you could balance it. Maybe make it a 3-second reload instead of having that really fast reload. It's the fastest reloader in the game, out of all of the assault rifles. Why is that the case? If you look at guns in the engineer class, I'm going to go pick on the MTAR for a little bit. It's just like the AEK, except balanced. If you want a incredibly good close quarters carbine, you know what you're going to use? You're going to use the MTAR. You know what a attachment is you really see on the MTAR a lot? The laser sight. Why? Because the laser sight increases that atrocious hip fire spread. A lot of things, a lot of guys will also use the flash suppressor, an attachment you never see used in this game because it's bad. I mean, the attachments themselves aren't balanced either. One thing you don't do is you don't nerf the attachment in a way that's unrealistic. I have no idea what DICE was thinking when they made the foregrip bad. Like, the whole point of having a foregrip on your weapon is to improve it. It's to make it easier to control. I don't understand some of the decisions they make. But let me get back to the MTAR. I'm really getting off topic here. The MTAR has a lot of recoil, and I mean a lot. Even on the PC, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to control. I've used it in private servers to kind of test it out, and I can say that just like on the console, you really got to work kind of hard to control the beast. But in the end, if you shoot it well, you're rewarded with this lead spitter that is just so immensely powerful. In the category, it should be powerful in close quarters. If you're fighting someone that's even decent with the MTAR, it should absolutely demolish you in close quarters unless you're using, say, an AEK or an F2000. And let me get on to the F2000. If you look at one of the F2000's strengths, it is its hip fire. The F2000 has great hip fire. But you know what else it could benefit from? maybe say allow the attachments on each weapon to modify it and increase multipliers. So maybe the laser sight on the F2000 would make it even better, in addition to a higher multiplier that the laser sight would actually make it accurate. So what am I saying here? I'm saying, I'm going to pull this number out of my ass. Let's say, because I don't actually know what it is, let's say the laser sight increases your hip fire accuracy by 25% across the board. I don't know if that's the actual number. Like I said, I don't know it. But let's say that's what it is. Let's say if you put the laser sight on the F2000, it increases your hip fire accuracy by 33% instead of 25%. Why are these kind of things not being taken into account? Now, this is simply a video I wanted to kind of rant about, because as I've been using the G3 more and more, it really has opened my eyes to a whole nother playstyle I've never really played as in pubs. It's kind of the anchor, long-range flanking guy that doesn't necessarily have to PTFO by going for the objective. He can PTFO, play the fucking objective from a distance, and still do well. I can still get a very high score using the G3 on any map that I could do well with the M16 on. But it's pathetic, because if I want to use the L85, I feel like I'm being punished for my choice as a player no matter what attachment I have on it, because I can't use it as well as the G3 because the stats just don't match up, and that is bad design, folks. You should let DICE know that when they design Battlefield 4, you want classes that are diverse, but you want classes that are balanced, and no matter what weapon you want to be able to win in some environments over the others, and that's something you can't do in Battlefield 3. And so you should let DICE know with your passion as a gamer that you want a diverse role. You don't want to go into a game and if you want to do well, have to use the M16, have to use the AK, have to use XXX, whatever gun it is that is the best, and no matter what game it is, you should not have to use that weapon to do well. But when it comes to Battlefield 3, if you want to do well and you want to succeed and you're playing Assault, 90% of the time it's going to be the M16, and that is poor design. That is poor design. It should be a fraction of how good it is. It should be equally distributed among all of the classes, among all of the weapons in each class, when you want to use each weapon, and each weapon should have clear-cut advantages and clear-cut disadvantages, and the only way we are going to see this change positively, is if you tell DICE this, you give them your feedback, and they listen. So I'm just going to make two quick statements before I stop ranting and this video ends. One, if you play Battlefield, and you're sick of games, kill feeds, being dominated by 1-2 weapons, and you want to be rewarded for your diversification, let DICE know and make decisions and show how you can make a difference by giving them advice and telling your friends to do the same. The second thing is DICE needs to listen to the people that play their game, because no offense, DICE, you probably don't play your own game because you can't balance it for shit. Thank you guys for watching the video. I got kind of ranty there. I probably made no sense in several points throughout the video, but I feel like this just had to be said because Battlefield 4 can be such a better game than Battlefield 3 is, and all they need to do is work on it. Thanks guys. Walrus out.